every time that you get to the track, you know you're going to have a dice today. It's, you can qualify on pole, you can qualify half a second quicker than the second guy, but in the race you always know that it's going to be tough out there.
In South African circuit racing terms, it doesn't get much closer than Polo Cup racing. Behind me is the championship winning car driven by young Kosi Veyers, and we're at Aldous Scribanti to get a sense of what it's like driving a car like this. Of course, normally this track would be filled with these cars. You'd have 24 or more cars all around you, and you'd have to worry about what they're doing as much as what you're doing trying to drive it on the track. But today we have Aldous Scribanti to ourselves. We have Kosi as the person who's going to teach us about the skills required to keep the car online, and hopefully we'll have a bit of fun in the process. The Polo Cup Series is a perfect proving ground for young drivers with national championship racing aspirations, as Kosi explains.
Yeah, I started back in, I think, 2002. I started racing Formula M cars at the age of 12 years old. I used to love to go and watch oval track, and then we moved on to oval track when I was 13 years old. And then, yeah, we got involved with Terry Moss, and he saw me and gave me a chance in Polo Cup, and yeah, now we're standing here as 2013 champion.
It's a title he thoroughly deserves. Competing in Engen Primax colours, the young racing star scored 9 wins in 18 starts and posted an impressive 15 podium positions in the process. But what's been the secret to his success?
The braking area is quite big, so it creates a lot of opportunities to outbrake other cars and whatever, so it makes it quite interesting on the track to watch the cars. That's why there's a lot of passing and stuff going on. Yeah, it's normally the guy that's more cool and calm that's actually winning the race on the end.
After spending some time in the cockpit with Kosi, it was time for my turn behind the wheel. I was under no illusions that I wouldn't get anywhere close to the champ's pace, despite all the tips and advice, but I was looking forward to getting a feel for what the current Polo Cups feel like when driven in anger. It's been a long time since I've had so much fun behind the wheel of a racing car. The thing with these Polo Cup cars is that they're not really that fast. It's not as intimidating as the production car S4 I drove last year. It is very predictable in its own kind of way. It punishes you if you're not absolutely precise. If you don't get the apex exactly right, if you don't put the power on in exactly the right place, you're just going to go slower. The setup of the little Polo is obviously a critical aspect too.
You must set the car up quite loose to be able to make it handle nicely, and it's a loose car on the one hand, but it's also an understeady car on the other, and that's just the thing that makes it good racing on the end of the day.
With the Polo's 2-litre 16-valve engine producing 155 kilowatt and a minimum weight of just more than 1,100 kilograms, it becomes vital to carry as much momentum into a corner as possible, braking as late and as little as you dare, and then to get the power down just at the right moment for optimum traction. What ends up happening is that once the tyres, and of course these are Continental slick tyres, and once they're up to temperature, there is a huge amount of grip, but you have to be very precise about where you position the car. If you get it right, if the lap is absolutely perfect, you can feel it. You can see the speeds are a lot higher, and you know that you're getting the absolute best out of the car. But it becomes a question of going with the car, letting it settle, and then putting on the power when you can use it best.
Slipstreaming also makes a hell of a difference on these cars, especially on longer tracks like East London and Cape Town. It's more difficult than by the shorter tracks when you're quicker. East London is probably the track where we get the most speed. I think we get about 225 top speed out of them.
That's pretty impressive for a little Polo, but then this is no ordinary hatchback. It may be based on a road-going Polo, but this is a stripped-out pucker racing machine, complete with roll cage, racing seat, harnesses and fire extinguisher. The engines are built and sealed by Volkswagen Motorsport, ensuring that everyone has the same hardware, with only the adjustable SAC suspension providing any room for specific setup. Even the Continental racing tyres are the same for all the teams, which means it's all down to driving skill and racecraft.
It's not the lightest cars in the world, not the most powerful car in the world, and not the best handling car in the world. So it makes it interesting. That's why it's Polo Cup. That's what makes it interesting.
Interesting in this context means close, uncompromising racing. The Polo Cup Series regularly serves up some of the best circuit action on the national motorsport calendar, and winning the championship is no mean feat. With a title under his belt, what are Kwesi's aspirations for the future?
I think NASCARs, I love NASCARs. I think it's my type of racing, and my style. I think it's rough and aggressive, and I like that kind of racing now.
Tough racing it might be, but Kwesi Weyers also has finesse and real talent on his side. Let's hope the Polo Cup champs' NASCAR dreams do come true.